Come back. Okie dokie. Now, Senator Gallagher, did you have any further questions?
Yes, thank you, Chair. It's very clear that you're in your submission in regards to the amendments to the Qantas Sales Act. What is your view on the Qantas Sales Act per se? Is it still relevant current, or would you have it removed?
Senator, we support the government's view on this, that the Qantas Sale Act does have a purpose. We support the Minister's position, which is a modification of the Qantas Sale Act in his white paper, which I believe would review the 35% and 25% ownership requirements, but keep the 51% ownership requirements, which we think is appropriate. We obviously, as an Australian carrier, also have the Air Traffic Act, Air Navigations Act requirements, which means for traffic rights we have that 51%. And for Qantas today, we have well over 60% of our ownership owned by here in Australia. So those requirements under the Act we agree with. And of course the other requirements that require us to be with the chairman, the majority of the board being Australian, we totally support.
I think it's worth saying that we spend all of our time, despite of our competitive challenges in our business, trying to create a very strong and viable Australian aviation industry. A lot of what we've done in Jetstar and on the Qantas side is build a strong franchise services, IP that we can export, and a strong and viable business that creates real knowledge jobs in Australia. But fundamentally, it's all about building a strong aviation sector that started from Australia.
Okay, the morale amongst your 30,000 employees, given the events of the last 6 months, I don't know, this is probably not directly related to the Qantas Sales Act or the proposed amendments, but in light of the absolute catastrophic damage to the Australian economy in one 24-hour period, where are you taking your people? Have you got your people on side with this model that you're proposing of investing in Jetstar Japan, and Jetstar Vietnam, and all of the other Asian adventures, which I think would be quite exciting? Why can't you take your people with you?
Well, we are working on that, Senator, and I have to say, I think for a lot of the groups of employees, bringing that action to an end last year had a big release for them, because I wouldn't underestimate the pressure that our frontline staff were having, our ground staff, our in-flight cabin crew, the pressure that they were under with the continuous disruptions that was taking place. We were cancelling hundreds of flights and delaying hundreds of flights. We had customers extremely unhappy. We had passengers moving to Virgin and the competition. And that was heartbreaking for us, for a lot of our frontline employees. And bringing this to a close, the amount of frontline employees that said to me, at least we did something about it. We stood up and brought it to an end, because they couldn't survive the slow bake. The morale of the company would have gone through the floor if we'd have had disruptions for another year, with the frontline staff taking the brunt of the aggression that was out there and the disappointment that was coming from our customers. Of course, every organisation wants to work on the engagement, and we have a big engagement focus in this organisation. We'd like to bring all of the employees with us in what we're doing, and you're absolutely right. It is very exciting what's taking place in Asia. But we have to be honest with the employees about the problems that we're facing and the need for change. And some employment groups have made the transition and are fully behind us. We are making significant changes in the airport environment. The airport staff have introduced a major change with the check-in system, the new automated check-in system that we have. Our cabin crew have worked with us on significant changes to our operations internationally. But there are some areas where we've had resistance, and those areas we have to make a stand, because it's important for all of the employees that we make the transformation that's needed. And if that has hit the engagement in those areas, I'm very disappointed at that. We have to work at turning it around, and we will work at turning that around.
Look, the opposing view to that is you simply took a preemptive strike, closed down negotiations, and now you're going to continue to attack your workforce in terms of wages and conditions till you get, your Ryanair model. So don't expect you to respond to that. Just my final question is...
Senator, I have to say that is completely not the case, because there isn't a Ryanair model that we're modelling ourselves on. Qantas is a premium...
It's clearly a Ryanair business model. It's pretty available.
It's not clearly the Ryanair business model. We have a very different business model in different parts of our business, and we run a far more complex business than Ryanair. We have a premium business, we have a regional business, a domestic business, and a low-cost business. And even the Jetstar business is not modelled on Ryanair. The Jetstar business, which is the closest to it, has a model that's modelled on the best of low-cost carriers around the world. Some aspects of Ryanair in terms of their operational efficiencies, some aspects of EasyJet in terms of the branding, some aspects of AirAsia in terms of their purchasing and the negotiations. We take the best of every airline around the world and we create a new standard. And people are looking at Jetstar and Qantas as the standards around the world. So we don't have a model that we're copying. We have other airlines copying Qantas, and that's something we should be proud of. Singapore Airlines have just created Scoot, an exact copy of our strategy. Other airlines around the world are trying to copy exactly what Qantas has been doing. So we're the trendsetter, the market leader, and it's our model that's being copied in the rest of the world, not the other way around.
Just one final question. I think, Mr. Buchanan, you said that the practice of using international flight attendants on domestic legs is now discontinued?
No, I didn't say that. What I said was the practice of concentrated tag flying has been discontinued. So when people would, for instance, let me give you an example, someone in Darwin, a cabin crew member, the rostering system may have put them back and forth from Darwin to Melbourne before and did multiple legs on international tag flights. That's what we've discontinued, not the practice of tag flying. So the hub still operates, but we're making sure that they don't do concentrated domestic tag flying.
So just to try and get a particular question, which I think I asked an earlier hearing. So if someone comes in, Darwin goes through customs, and an aircraft then operates as a domestic leg, you're saying that no international flight attendants operate on those domestic legs?
What
or are you saying they do operate?
What we're saying is the Darwin hub operates with international crew on all of the international tag flights through there. If there's a purely domestic flight number flight to and from Darwin, which we do operate back of the clock that don't connect onto any of those international flights, then they'll be served with Australian domestic crew. For the flights that are international tag flights, they'll be served with an international crew, which is a mixture of Australian-based international crew and international-based international crew.
What I'm just trying to work out is when they're flying in a domestic sector in Australia, will they be paid Australian wages and conditions?
When they're flying on international flight numbers that are going in and out, so the tag flights that go from Darwin into any of the Australian ports, they'll be paid wherever the domicile of the employment is.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Senator Gallagher. Senator Betts.
I'll have a quick one. Quick one before I go. Look, there was a scant reference earlier to the carbon tax, and in light of your announcement last week of an increased fares by virtue of the imposition of the carbon tax on the 1st of July, do you expect your business to recoup with that increase, that announced increase, the full cost of the carbon tax on by fare payers, or will you be diverting other revenue from your business to subsidise the cost of the carbon tax on your business, which could be going towards better employment conditions for Australians?
Well, Senator, we cannot digest the cost of the carbon, on our domestic operations, and we've made that very clear when this was announced last year. We signalled our intention to pass that cost on to the consumers. And in the announcement last week, we have announced a range of fare increases, ranging from $1.80 per sector on a Sydney-Canberra leg, as an example, short sector legs, and we've rated it in 4 zones, all the way up to $6.80 for a Sydney-Perth sector, a long sector of the domestic market per sector per passenger booth. So that's what we will be increasing the airfares from on the 15th of February. Of course, we're a unique company, and that this applies from the 1st of July, but we have people booking now for the 1st of July travel, so it means we have to increase the airfares now for that period for travel from the 1st of July. It will impose around $115 million cost on the airline, and our intention is to raise that through this increase in airfares. Our belief is it will be fully recovered. The domestic market, we have seen fare increases that have taken place as a consequence of increased fuel.